Today I'm in a suburb of Phoenix, Arizona. I'm at Steadfast Farm, the amazing farm of farmer Erich Shultz. In this video, you're going to see how he turns over a carrot bed, taking it from an old crop to a brand new one. Everything involved. Here it is, coming up. Normally on Erich's farm, he likes to plant carrots in this way: 5 rows of full-size carrots and then 12 rows per bed of baby carrots. But this time of year and right now, he's not doing that, and the plan has changed. Why? So here you have a bed of 5, a bed of 12. Can you explain why and how that's changing because of demand and seasonality?
Sure. So yeah, our successions are essentially every week we do 2 beds of carrots. We do 1 bed of rainbow carrots on 5 rows on a 30-inch bed, and then we do 1 bed of baby carrots on a 30-inch bed. And so we do the different amount of rows for obvious reasons, just to allow that that sizing up to happen. But we've had quite a bit of demand with the carrots this season in particular, so we're having to kind of adjust things on the fly. So we've shifted to essentially do all baby carrots right now, just to kind of keep up with demand, because we're burning through the beds too fast.
The 2 beds that we're going to be focusing on today are these 2 beds over here. They used to look like these beds right here, but they've already been harvested out. So the next step is to get them ready for seeding. So the first step in that process of taking these beds and getting them ready to have seed put in them is to power harrow the bed to create a nice smooth seed bed. That's what we're doing first. You know, Erich, you have 160 beds here, somewhere around probably 1.5 acres under production and cultivation. Could you do without a BCS?
No, I mean, no, definitely, especially we've tried like the tilther and that, and although I think it's a great tool, it's not right for our soil. Our soil is really heavy, and it just didn't hold up well to it, didn't prepare like we needed it to. So the BCS has been huge to getting away from a 4-wheel tractor, which is what we started with, and so we use it all the time. Yeah.
You know, your normal bed preparation process, is it till, power harrow, seed, or is it just power harrow after a previous crop? How are you handling that bed turnover?
It will depend. You know, if it's already a raised bed, depending on the crop will dictate if we're going to broad fork or not. You know, we just harrowed some carrot beds, or beds that had carrots in them, and because of what the carrots are doing, kind of natural tillage, we opt not to do any additional with the broad fork. But yeah, most of the time we're going to do that broad forking though, and then we'll amend with composted chicken manure, and then we'll harrow after that, and then we can either direct seed or transplant.
So now you've power harrowed the bed. What are the next steps?
So for these carrots, we're gonna roll the beds to get a little compaction, tamp things down a little bit, so our 6-row seeder has better traction and doesn't slip or slide around at all. So we're gonna make two passes with this seedbed roller with some sandbags on it to give it a little extra weight, and then I'm gonna run the 6-row seeder over the bed dry with no seed in it, again, just to make sure it's performing the way I need it to before I put seed in there and try it. So
when you're running over dry, are you just looking to see like its height, how it's rolling over the surface, or what it's doing to the soil?
Primarily I'm looking just to make sure that it has enough traction and that front roller or the rear roller is not slipping, and so it continues to turn that drive shaft, which is going to, you know, drop the seeds.
One of the tools you use on your farm here is the 6-row seeder.
Yep.
What crops do you use it for, and why do you like this versus, say, the Jang, which would be an alternative to it?
Yeah, well, we use the 6-row for our baby carrots. So we do 2 passes for 12 rows, and we use it for all of our cut greens, where we're doing 12 rows, high density, direct seeding as well. So it'd be like our baby arugula, baby kale, our brassica mixes, that sort of thing. Yeah, I like it, you know, the density, it works really well now that we've kind of got it dialed into our conditions here, and that took a while. It's a little challenging until you figure that out, but if you get your soil moisture right and your tilth right, then it works really well. So we don't use, I mean, I'm not against the multi-row Jangs. I just haven't purchased one, so I'd like to see. I think you can get 10 rows on a 30-inch bed with it, like the JP3, and that's pretty interesting because I think that will, from what I understand, works better in less than ideal conditions. It'll seed, so that is appealing for sure. But this, yeah, it does the 12 rows. It's pretty cost effective, and like I said, once you kind of figure it out, it works extremely well, and it's really simple.
For the seeds in this, do you use pelleted? Do you use non-pelleted seed?
We use mostly all raw seed, or we do use only raw seed in this one. We've played around with the pelleted. Cracks a little bit of the seeds, and the hoppers are really small for the pelleted, so we're constantly refilling, it feels like. So yeah, just raw seed.
So the fact that this is 6 at a time, once you get it dialed in, it's saving you time versus if you had to do 6 passes on the Jang back and forth, but you do have to spend that little extra time to roll the seed bed, do a test run,
yep,
to get the soil working. Like, the tool's not going to work itself. You got to,
yeah,
create the conditions for it to work well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just need to have a nice level bed and enough moisture that's going to give us that traction to keep that roller spinning, and so the shaft will drop the seeds consistently. But yeah, if you get that right and you pay attention, then it works really well. And I can't say we always are spot on with our prep because it's real life, but yeah, it works really well. See how like that back wheel doesn't want to, I can kind of use the front roller to tamp, but you need to get a little moisture on it. So if you want more dense, you know, then you have the small gear in the front, and the big in the back is going to have more revolution, so it's going to drop more seed.
Drop more seed,
and
right.
So you can just change that combo just by moving that around.
So between the belt and just sliding that shaft to the different hole sizes, you get all the options.
Yep, yeah, and you can adjust the brush a little bit too for how to singulate. And then you have one adjustment, which I don't adjust anymore, and that's just the height. You can raise and lower that front.
So with all this loose soil, it's skipping or digging in, the back wheel's not turning, so seed's not going down.
Right. So yeah, once we hit that and you see that back, it just starts to drag the soil. That would be the issue. And so we're gonna have to put a little moisture on it first to seed this.
So based on that first test run that Eric did, it's a no-go right now. He has to wet down the beds with the drip lines, which he's stringing out right now, before he can run the 6-row seeder after it. He's had some issues where he had a low spot, he filled it in, they have very fine soil out here, and what that's resulting in is that back roller on the 6-row seeder is not spinning, which means if it's not going to spin, seed's not going to go down. So this test run that he did with no seed beforehand saved him the trouble of putting seed in and trying to do it the real way, and then realizing it wasn't going to work. He took that little bit of time to do that. He's remedying the situation to get it to the point where he knows it'll work, and then he'll come back and do it with the actual seed in it. What you have right here are Erich's carrot successions, and you can actually count back in time. So the one he's currently planting is right now in the present, and then you go back by blocks of 2, you go back 1 week, and this is 2 weeks ago when he started these. He has his wider spacings of the rainbow carrots and then tighter spacings for the baby carrots that he harvests. Interesting how he gets these seeds to germinate. He's not using any overhead irrigation here on the farm at any time. A lot of people do for crops, especially carrots. He just has 3 rows of drip on these 30-inch beds, and that's enough to get the carrots to germinate. And looking down, it looks pretty good. So this is how he's currently planting this time of year. 2-row blocks, 1 week apart at different times of the year. He might vary it, but there's a lot of demand right now. So every week, 2 beds get planted out.